What's going on, everybody? Adam here with eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Thule TracRac TracONE ladder rack on our 2020 Ram 1500. So this ladder rack system is going to be a really good and awesome addition to your truck just because we're going to be able to pretty much double our bed space. This is going to allow us to put a bunch of different attachments or just haul some of those longer loads, maybe without even going over the back end of our truck. We can go ahead and put 2x4s, pieces of drywall, a bunch of pipe, whatever you guys are using, and of course, some ladders. We're going to go ahead, throw these up here, put it over top of our cab so we don't have to put one of those flags up on the back, and it's just not going to add any length to the back of our truck here. We are going to have a bunch of different tie-down points and stuff that we can put up on top of here. You guys can even put some kayak carriers up on here. A lot of different stuff you could do with this. And the nice thing about it is extremely adjustable for whatever kinds of loads you guys are carrying. One thing I noticed with this Ram in particular, right when I brought it into the bay, I noticed one thing. Hopefully you guys can see it in the video, but look how scratched up this bed is. So this guy was definitely carrying some heavier stuff, maybe on a construction lot or something like that. Well, he obviously didn't have a ladder rack, so if you guys are trying to protect your bed from this, go ahead and buy you guys a ladder rack so you guys can throw your loads up top and keep your bed nice and pretty. So this is the black version of this ladder rack, but it does come in silver too. We just thought the black one looked really cool on the black Ram that we're using, but both of them are going to be made of aluminum. This one right here has a nice E-coat on it, so it is going to stay nice and pretty for a longer amount of time. And also, it is going to have a weight capacity of around 800 pounds. So you guys can load this thing up since it's on the bed of your truck, and you should be ready to roll. One thing to note, it is about 65 inches long in regards to the bars that we're using, so we're going to have a lot of space to be able to put even full sheets of drywall or even some of that wood you guys are carrying. And when you guys aren't really using your ladder rack, you don't really have to worry a whole lot about the resistance against the wind and stuff like that you guys are going to get on the highways, because we do have a relatively aerodynamic shape, so it's not going to make a whole lot of whistling, and it's not really going to cut your fuel economy in half or anything like that. So I do definitely think that you can definitely drive with it without anything loaded up, and honestly, it kind of looks pretty cool too. So we have a pretty standard bed on a Ram here, but if you guys have some of those mid-sized trucks or something like that, we actually have two little bolts here that we can loosen up, and we can actually slide these arms in and out to accommodate for some of those different types of beds you guys are using. Also, we do have options when it comes to mounting this up. I did it all the way to the back and all the way closest to the cab just to maximize my spread, but you guys can put them a lot closer together. And if you guys aren't really using them, you can go ahead and push this one up all the way to the other one. So you guys can go ahead and just step up on your tailgate, walk all the way back, and you don't have to duck underneath this bar. One thing that I like to do is just have this thing ready to go. So being able to just slide it forward when you're not using it and slide it back when you are is definitely going to be a plus for me. For you guys that have a toolbox, you guys can go ahead and have the toolbox on there. We're not going to be able to get the spread you guys see here, but we'll still be able to use the ladder rack. And it really didn't take me a whole lot of time to set this thing up straight out of the box, so we're going to go ahead and show you guys how. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and take our rubber pieces here, and we're just going to place them on our bed rails just to protect them from any scratches before we put up our ladder rack. So I'm going to maximize my bed and put them all the way closest to the cab as you see here, and then of course as far back as I can do. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my ladder rack. It's extremely light, and we can place it down into place. Now we're going to go ahead and take our hardware to secure it into place, and to do that we're going to go underneath here, and it'll just fit into that little channel. And we want to make sure that we get straight up to the metal on the rails of our bed, and there is little plastic tabs that kind of hold this plastic piece on our rail into place, so we want to make sure to avoid that at all costs, just because it's not going to get us the best and tightest fitment, and we're going to be putting a lot of pressure on that. We really don't want to break it. but you can go ahead, and we do need to put our little foot on there. Gonna look just like this. Just place it up on there. I suggest putting it in there once you get the bracket into place. It just makes it a lot easier. Kind of just get it nice and hand tight, wiggle it a little bit. We're gonna put 2 on each side, and it's gonna be that same exact thing. So what I usually do is get 2 of them on, do the other side, and then I come back with the tool and tighten them all down. So once everything is nice and tight, give it a good wiggle. Make sure it's not really rattling around or shifting on the rails of the bed of your truck. And if it isn't, we're pretty much ready to load something up. Well, everyone, that just about does it for a look at the Thule TracRac TracONE ladder rack on our 2020 Ram 1500.